A little bit more setup here to the old jokey joke. For those of you not steeped in either mycology or steeped in geologic terminology or science in general or the conversation the Anthropocene, I'm pretty sure you're all well aware as human beings that we have some major environmental catastrophes going on all over our planet, and most of all of this is at our own cause. And there's some really sick, nasty, twisted irony in all of this about sustaining our species and growing our species in these crazy ideas that we've had about economic growth on the planet, and we're eating it alive. Anyway, stepping back from that, this is really meant to be kind of a sci-fi parody of just that, with an undertone of kind of seriousness about the consequences we're in. This is set in about 50,000 years in the future, or about when the next interglacial time period would be. Or right now, we are living in an interglacial time period as the glaciers began to recede about 11,700 years ago. And that has really made a great opportunity for humans just in the last 11,700 years to do another sort of leap of advances. Remember, we're a 300,000-year-old species, and we've lived through these cycles before. And so I'm just projecting onto the next interglacial cycle and what the heck's going to go on with species here on the Earth. I call this the Mycocene, as I said, when fungi dominate the earth. And, you know, this is a good fun joke, but I'll show you, fun joke. I'll show you exactly where I derive that idea from in just a second. Then some background here. We live in what geologists, or really widely more termed the Anthropocene, a term I believe coined in 2008 by a chemist. And this is not a formally adopted time frame in geology. So I shouldn't have maybe overspoken my bounds and said that this is, geologists refer to this as the Anthropocene. I think it's becoming more and more common in our everyday lexicon, at least in the geosciences and other sciences, that this is a very unique human-dominated geology time frame that we live in. We, as humans, as the Anthropocene, have a record on this planet. Even if we zip out of here tomorrow and we just are gone, there's forever going to be a record geologically of this time. Now, the reality that's a little bit behind this, besides those any sort of environmental impacts and potential catastrophes that we are living through and even causing, are the question about terraforming, right? This often comes up with Mars. Are we, going to terraform Mars and make it into a place where we can live and things like this? But remember that life once did terraform this planet slowly for further types of life that come later. And now this isn't a conscious thing like we're thinking about terraforming Mars consciously, but over a long period of time, oxygen was a poisonous gas emitted by photosynthetic bacteria that slowly rose in the oceans and then later the atmosphere, and that sort of terraformed, in a way, biologic species like us that respire oxygen, and we need oxygen to live. So what I'm talking about here is what are we terraforming the Earth for? Like what kind of organisms and species in the wake of human beings will be the most the most prolific, right, if you will. Whether we're gone, whether we're still a dominant species, or whether we are, somewhere in between at a lesser population, then what is going to advantage from our previous Anthropocene era, or what are we terraforming the Earth for? And last time that I discussed this was in October of last year, 2018, to a group of radical mycologists. And so some of you out there are probably radical mycologists, but that is a group from really, I don't know the whole origin stories and things here, but the book Peter McCoy, I think released in 2012 or so, with a whole lot of just revolutionary ways to think about using and allying with, not just using, but allying with fungi for a more sustainable future. So radically using the study of mycology. I think it's really great. And this presentation, basically from now on, well, there's one more slide here. I want to give you a little bit more background on this piece. But from then on, will be given from the perspective of a fungi. I will try to allow myself to get in my co-author's head and think about the Mycocene, or be in the Mycocene and think about the Anthropocene from the perspective of a mushroom or of a fungi. So the presentation here is an overview of the Anthropocene deposits, as my character is giving a talk to maybe non-geologists or non-ecologists, paleontologists, mainly non-scientific folk, but maybe interested, and is sort of giving maybe a new thought, a new scientific idea here that maybe the Anthropocene deposits actually have something to do with this really weird offshoot species that's really common in the Anthropocene, but until then, geologists or paleontologists of the mycologic era have never really given it a second thought. Okay, so that's overall what to look forward to.